We all need to learn to control our emotions and think long term. We live in a headlines-based society where clickbait journalism wins. With 24/7 access to news, the daily headlines have been turned up to the max. Drama always wins the audience ratings. This is before we consider the issues around fake news. The level of daily noise we face has never been higher. We need to accept the world events will always exist. These headlines have always been with us and won't be disappearing anytime soon, so they shouldn't shock us as much as they do. The fallout from these shock headlines is that people panic and bail out at the wrong time. Long-term decisions are often made on the back of one headline. We've seen this in action, which worries me. This behaviour is driven by our natural instinct to try something new when a problem occurs. We want to fix the problem. Why? We're naturally problem solvers. So we're never content to sit still and let things play out in front of us. Let's look at a simple example. Which lane to stay in on the motorway when there's a traffic jam ahead? What do? Do you keep in the same lane? Do you move left or do you move right? This is just a relatively mundane decision that we have to make, which is unlikely to contain much emotion or sensitivity, although will contain some amusement and is likely to pass the time. When it comes to investment decisions, the noise in headlines continue to tempt us every day to change what we're doing. These are just the mainstream news headlines. Noise is also created from within the fund management industry, encouraging us to make unnecessary changes. When it comes to investing, discipline is the winner. Let us explore this a little more. A study was done by a well-known fund supermarket. They looked back at all the accounts that performed the best over a period of time. They wanted to understand the key characteristics of these portfolios and those managing them. There were two key themes that had emerged. Either the account was either inactive or sadly the person had died. I think that tells us a lot. If we look at the FTSE All-Share Index, it's shown a positive return 24 out of the last 34 years. That's 70% of the time the market is finished up at the end of the year. The trouble is that we don't know the sequence of these years. But we also know that the average inter-year decline is 15.2% currently. That's the difference between the peak and the trough in any one year. That's the average movement every year, not just in extreme periods. So volatility is normal. So why do so many people panic? I think part of this is due to the fact that most people don't understand the normal range of movements for a portfolio. Therefore, they're not able to put into context the day-to-day movements that they see. Perhaps that's because of the fascination of concentrating on past performance of a portfolio, even driven by the marketing material produced, or the financial advisor, or indeed hope that the same performance will be experienced by the investor. Hopefully now you can start to see why discipline wins when it comes to long-term investing. A recent study associates the value of managing your emotions at 1.5% per annum. Just from taking a disciplined approach and working with a good financial planner. And that's before looking at the gains from cost savings, asset allocation and rebalancing. We need to change the conversations that we are having and learn to feel comfortable with how markets behave and listen to the decades of academic research rather than all the marketing hype and news headlines. The opposite of what most people do. The trouble is, with the digital revolution, the traditional gatekeepers of information have been removed, and our brains aren't designed to process all of this information rationally. It's human nature to want to escape a bad situation. After all, we feel a loss twice as much as we do a gain. So please remember, markets are efficient, and we need to control our emotions and think long term.